This from the Wall Street Journal. Janelle Grant, a former employee at the wrestling firm's headquarters, said in a lawsuit filed Thursday that she was abused and sexually exploited by McMahon while he was chief executive. She alleged that McMahon lured her with promises of career advancement, and then he allegedly exploited her and trafficked her to other men inside the company. We have the lawsuit, and we will be discussing the most shocking revelations.
Right. And there will be more details on it on our website. Go to www.teachermediastudios.com for that. But for now, let's talk about it live. And I promise you at the top of the show that there was a personal story. Full disclosure, I have met Mr. McMahon before when I used to work overseas for the military. In the living space, we had like these little cubicle, like little dividers in it was called a chicken coop where we were all living.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I was in there for like 2 weeks, I think. It was like a couple of days into it. I remember that there was an AC unit in there, and they kept it on like Antarctic. I mean, we were in Iraq. It was very hot, even at night. So they had the AC in there blasting cold. I remember one night I needed to warm up, so it was freezing cold in there. So I had to walk outside to try to warm myself up so I can get some sleep. And then another gentleman walked out, and I thought he was just out just to have a cigarette. And we were just shooting the shit, and he was talking about just blah 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 kind of shit, right? Next thing you know, this guy's rubbing my shoulders.
You looked tense.
Right? Oh, there. No, don't be blaming the victim.
You looked real tense. I bet you were asking for it.
Yeah.
What were you wearing?
My wife over there laughing.
Was it really suggestive? Maybe you shouldn't have been wearing that.
Right? Yeah, it was my fault for being shirtless.
You were asking for it.
Yeah, it was, right? It was my fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting all tense, and I was like, it took like 10 seconds for me to even respond. I was like,
because you just weren't, you were shocked by it.
Is this even fucking happening? Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm getting uncomfortable right now. And I remember him going, I'm sorry, dude. Like, what's happening? He was testing me. Mm-hmm. He was testing water.
See how far he would get
with, yeah. So he was like, you get real lonely out here and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, this is like
The weirdness isn't him wanting to be with a man. The weirdness is him wanting non-consensual.
Yeah, he was trying, yeah.
The weirdness isn't him wanting to be with a man. The weirdness was the non-consensual part. Him trying to persuade and pursue someone who was obviously not into that. Yeah. That would be the weird part. Yeah. But yeah, no. SAs are so common and such a variety. I mean, that's the thing about this, and what makes it such a hard topic is it can come down into a female or male feeling pressure from a person of authority in a small, minute way to feel like they don't have an out. When they feel like they don't have an out, that's not okay. Mm. When you make someone feel like they can't get out of this situation, they can't escape your advancements, you've gone too far. You've done too much. That's not okay. And I think that's where a lot of people who get real defensive of the pursuers is they're like, well, nothing actually happened. They didn't actually, SA them. They just harassed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now that person has to be on guard and be in fight mode anytime they're in an environment around this person, because they have been consistently harassed, even though they've been maybe putting off advances. That is still not okay. And this concept of not...
But I mean, consensually, like if me and Joy were like role play, like if she wants to play a little bit, like...
But again...
We get a little dangerous.
What's the key word there?
Consensual. Exactly.
If it's not consensual, it's not fun. And the concept of somebody wanting to be with someone where it's not consensual makes zero sense to me. I mean, zero. I do not understand that appeal, that attraction, that need, that desire, that kink. And I am not a kink shamer. I am not a kink shamer.
Oh, so we know.
We do not kink shame
trust me, we know.
House. We do not kink shame. Consensual is a kink.
Yeah.
People pursuing people and wanting to be with people who don't want to be with him is not a kink. That is a sickness.
I read the whole thing. I was, if I didn't know, we didn't already go over time, which we already have.
We're already over that. Yeah,
we blasted through that. I would have gone through it. I have the whole thing. I read the whole thing. So basically, in a nutshell, this young lady, was it Grant? I believe her last name was.
Grant.
There was a part of the story, and I knew it was very. This.
So yeah, Chris kept updating me throughout the day.
I sent TikToks of people who broke it all down, but at the very least, this part I wanted to bring up. If I don't bring up anything else,
which one are we at?
Because and I gotta find the number, but this, because we downloaded the whole court case. So basically, in a nutshell, this young lady was looking for work. She was down on her luck. She needed help finding employment. I read that part of the lawsuit. I was like, to me, that felt like a setup.
Oh, it was
100%. 100%. I felt like, I was like, this, like, I felt like the conversation was like, no, this girl's her mom and dad have passed away, and like he's collecting all the data. There's
perfect candidate for grooming.
Exactly.
Perfect candidate.
That's when I read that part of it, that was the only thing I thought about. I was like, I'm like, you're like, and then she said that she kept going back after things got worse. She kept going back to residential manager. Telling him that what Vince was doing. Like, oh my, I gotta get away from. And I'm like, I'm reading this case file like as if it's a novel. I'm like, this guy is not your friend. Who is this guy? Yeah. I'm like, I understand. Like in this lawsuit, she implicates Vince McMahon. John Laurinaitis is the other the dude, or the third picture right there, and Brock Lesnar was not named, but there's a reason why people know it's him, and here's why. It's because in the lawsuit it said a WWE superstar that Vince McMahon was trying to negotiate his contract with, who is also a UFC champion from it. The only person that's in the roster is him.
I was gonna say, are there several, or
no,
did we narrow it down?
Okay. That's what I loved about it. Yeah.
And so it makes so much sense how she got sort of pulled into this and was created in this sort of like trafficking scenario. Yeah. And she was a prime candidate to be groomed for this, unfortunately. And they saw it. They pounced. They took it down. Yeah. He started off allegedly.
Slow. He started off slow and then moved and it evolved. Like here, over the next several weeks, McMahon invited Mrs. Grant to his condo on several occasions, each time assuring her that he would find the right position for her in the WWE. For each meeting with Miss McMahon, Miss Grant brought samples of job descriptions she found online to review with him, and demonstrated the types of roles that she might want to fit. McMahon listened to Miss Grant, asked her questions, and pointed out qualities that he described as rare gifts, including her goodness, vivaciousness, vivaciousness, childlike innocence, and ability to be vulnerable.
That's, you know, why they utilize those terms, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
and remember, this is her lawyer who wrote this out.
Yeah. But those terms, though, she's saying that that's what he told her. Those are the things that he told her. And do you know why that he said those things? Because those things, allegedly, because those things are in opposition of someone speaking up, of someone fighting back, of someone saying no.
Which goes back to the whole thing with that residential manager. That was not your friend. Mm-hmm. That dude was working with and was trying to work in the favor.
A mile away
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, prime candidate. Prime, whelmed, subservient. A text message from McMahon saying, regarding your last picture, you need your panties ripped off.
A lot of explicit stuff.
And ripped off, and 3 big black D's in all 3 holes at the same time. weigh up your
Yeah, all that's just
P.
Y'all need to just read that.
Yeah, and weigh up your A as far as they will go. But farther, and this is a text message from that phone. I'm not gonna say from him, from that phone number that belonged to.
Look, I am a
McMahon.
girl who loves her some romance novels, and I love descriptive stuff. Mm-hmm. But none of that sounds pleasing.
There was a part of this lawsuit where he allegedly used a S toy on her that was so so big that at one point it got stuck. It was.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
At another scenario where he was trying to pretend to be other wrestlers that work for him, black and white ones.
I was going to say, why is he so obsessed with the black peens?
I was shocked when I saw that because I would not think that McMahon would be that type of guy that would acknowledge.
He wants the big black.
I've known some biggest man in the world.
Is this the one? This isn't the same one that went up against Arnold, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
There was a.
I think that was Mr. T.
No.
Or Zeus from.
There's a black guy in the doc that when you watch the doc of Arnold, he was like his main competition, but he was Mr. Universe, was strongest man, all that stuff, and he was, huge. I
don't recall.
Was this? Oh, and then who was the guy that the one wrestling chick killed?
What, say it again?
There was a wrestling chick who was married to a black wrestler, and she killed him. She's in jail.
Ooh,
prison.
I don't know. We're going off. I don't know
I don't know wrestling, so I've watched a lot of documentaries though, so I'm trying to.
But I'm curious now. But this whole thing, it was shocking to me. If we didn't start off in overtime, we're already way deep in overtime. Maybe, and somebody suggested to me on the show, like, Chris, go deep. I'm gonna have to do. I'll do it. You know what? Maybe tomorrow afternoon, I'm gonna have to go live, or maybe late at night, because you freaks love to come out at night. I'm gonna probably have to go through this whole thing because you were right. This deserves, and I know there's a whole bunch of other YouTube channels, and I'll watch them. You go watch them. But if you want me to
you're a wrestling fan.
I'm a wrestling fan.
You are a legit fan.
I have stories. My mother dated a wrestler out here, Houston. Like I said, I met Vince McMahon. I met John Cena.
Yeah.
I have my own stories that I could tell you. I flirted with the Bella twins. I was like, I winked at them, and then they looked.
Or anything. I remember watching Hulk Hogan back in the day. That's the last time I watched when I was a kid.
If you were single and Rhea Ripley was like, I want to date, would you date Rhea Ripley?
I would not be opposed to it, but her looks aren't.
That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed. That's all I needed to hear.
Oh my God, he's ridiculous. I might not like her personality. I don't know.
She's the greatest woman in the world. She's a national treasure. She's mommy.
Oh God, no! I don't do that. That's off.
That's her. That's her.
I know.
Gimmick now.
I'm off the table with that.
Mommy.
Yeah, no.
Peter Lane has joined the chat.
Hi, Peter.
What's up, Pete? Oh,
He's
man.
like he's here just in time to agree with Tabatha.
I mean, man, this whole thing, look, okay, I'm sorry, and I should have known better. I knew this was going to be a passionate thing.
Yeah.
I spent all day researching this stuff. I read the whole thing.
You're hyper-fixated for sure.
And we've gone so far past time, we can't even dive deep into it, so I'm going to have to make this into a
Do it.
I
think you should
video.
because it is something you very much are involved.
Yeah.
We're like, I barely know who the people are. This whole situation's horrible. Yes.
The situation in this case where I think I did a bulletin thing on it. I'll read this. The circumstances surrounding the NDA, medical care and taxes. McMahon promised her $3 million for signing that NDA. He only paid her $1 million, which is why she is able to speak out, because he breached the contract. he didn't complete payment. McMahon breached a core term in the NBA by failing to make future payments. Ms. Grant's name publicity release impacted employment prospects and caused further trauma. The arrest. No, that's wrong. I think that. Okay, here we go. Ms. Grant's exploited and subjected to depraved acts during her employment with WWE. Severe and permanent trauma leading to anxiety and depression. Requires extended inpatient treatment. She's unable to leave her residence for weeks at a time due to her fear and PTSD. Terminated from employment and loss of income of $80,000 per year. The NDA created a wedge in Ms. Grant's relationships and left her isolated. Weight loss, insomnia, rashes, flashbacks, panic attacks, and depression expressed. Lack of self-care and days spent in bed. Ms. Grant will require lifelong treatment due to pain and suffering inflicted by the defendant. This case is going. I'm gonna have to dive deeper into this. This case is going. I'm gonna have to dive deeper.
That must be nice that you get to just only focus on the good when everyone else is suffering.
Yeah.
Like, for Christ's sake.
What a great man he was.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And to play devil's advocate, I understand the situation that that Triple H is in. Vince McMahon is his father-in-law. He's married to his daughter. But guys, follow us and subscribe. Hit the like button if you haven't already done so. Help us out. This really does help us. We haven't done a 2-hour show in a long time. Shit.
We knew going in.
Yeah. Like I told Joy last night, before we started, this is going to last for 2 hours, right?
Oh my God, are we ending on that?